Hey guys, Toki here with another strategy update in Vaulted Incarnates. Today we'll be looking at Dathea and 3 things that we need to master and do better on before we're able to kill her. Those 3 things are Diverted Essence, Kicks and Stack Management, Add Kill Times, and primarily looking at Thunderbolt stacks that we gain, and our Mark Management. First, we're going to start off with our Diverted Essence, and in case you guys want to take a look, this is Wipe 15 from last Thursday's attempt, and we're looking at the Volatile Infuser ad that spawns about 40 seconds into the fight. Now, we purposefully spawn this ad early because we want DPS to be able to focus the boss and passive cleave onto the Infuser. And the DPS should be doing that. You should be primarily targeting the boss and just passively cleaving onto the Infuser. Now, what we're missing here, and we consistently see, is we're missing kicks on this Volatile Infuser. And I think the main reason is DPS are targeting the boss and kind of ignoring the Infuser, but we can't do that. They have to either be focused through a focus macro or some other ways that you can keep track of their casts, because we're seeing that we get probably 4 to 5 on average stacks of Diverted Essence, and we really should be getting about 2. Okay, and so I'll hit play here, and we can look at the Volatile Infuser and watch it cast. He does some aerial slashes, and then he'll get into his Diverted Essence. And so here he is. He's casting Diverted Essence for the first time. It's a 2-second cast. He's right next to the boss, next to all of our melee DPS, within range of all of our ranged DPS as well. And this cast goes off, okay? And I said we're ending up with 4 to 5 stacks. And so what's the implication of that? Well, each stack increases Dathea's damage by 10%, and it lasts for 30 seconds. And so because it lasts so long, if we let that early cast go off, it's going to continue to stack once the ad platform comes up. So it is absolutely critical that we kick that Volatile Infuser's cast. Okay, I'm going to hit play here and watch it play out. The second cast they does get stopped, and so we keep Dathea at 1 stack. But like I said, as the ad platform spawns, she's going to get more stacks before it actually drops off of her and resets. So here we are, positioning the Infuser a little bit better. I believe that one also got stopped. Yep, so she still only has 1 stack. Back to the Volatile Infuser ad. So here we can see the platform has been identified. Okay, and this is another thing we need to get a little bit better on. And so ads start to spawn, and we're getting into position. Now, one of the things that I think that we can do a little bit better on is we don't have to drag the Volatile Infuser quite as far. This middle ring here is a good area. You can go in the middle ring, or the farthest the tanks want to drag it is the outer side of the middle ring. And the reason is we want to be able to plant and kill the Infuser as soon as possible. And we want extra room at the edge so that DPS can move away from swirlies if they do spawn under their feet. Now, really important mechanic to note, it doesn't matter where you are on the platform, you're going to get knocked back the same distance from the Volatile Infuser. The only thing that matters is that you're in the correct pathing so that you get knocked in the right direction. So the Volatile Infuser can be here, and you could be on the very edge of the platform, and you'll still get knocked back the same distance as if the Volatile Infuser is right at the edge with you. So that's not a problem. Just make sure you line up correctly. Tanks, plant, and keep the Volatile Infuser a little bit closer here so that we can kill him faster. Now, the other thing is that we should be killing the Volatile Infuser right now. He's a little bit high health, and so that's kind of a deterrent. But if we keep moving him to the edge, DPS naturally are not going to finish him off until the tank plants him. So we really should be planning early and killing him faster. We should be kind of in the air here very soon. Ideally, we land at 127, but we have not, and so we finally kill him. We get knocked over, and boom, we land at 133. It's about 5 seconds too late. And if we look at the boss, the ad on the platform was able to cast Diverted Essence twice. And so now the boss has 3 stacks of Diverted Essence. That's 30% increased damage. We could have gotten away with only 1 stack if we killed the ad faster, and we would have missed the first stack if we would have interrupted while the Infuser ad was downstairs. So right now we could be at 1 stack. Okay. We're going to go through the platform, and the volatile infuser up on the platform is going to get a cast off while we're DPSing them. Again, another thing that should never happen. And so now we come back to the boss, and now we're at 4 stacks at 40% increased damage. We could be, if we played this pull perfectly, at only 1 stack. 2 stacks is reasonable. 4 stacks is not. This is going to get us killed almost every time, because when the downstairs groups gets the cyclone that pulls everyone in and they're all taking a lot of damage, that extra 40% damage is going to kill people. And so if we don't get those kicks off and we don't get that crisp kill and crisp movement to the platforms, we're going to continue to rat out on this. So those are the things that need to change specifically on Diverted Essence. Okay, so rewinding a little bit to when we land. And so again, we landed about 132, 133, which is about 5 seconds too late. But that is when we landed here on this pole. And the next ability that we need to master here is our Thunderbolt stacks. And so I've got Darun selected here, and I just want to show you guys this debuff. Because basically what it does is it does damage every 2 seconds to everyone on the platform. And it stacks, and every successive stack causes you to take 50% incremental damage, right? And so if you're good at math, you'll note that this is not a linear progression of damage. It's exponential. And so just as an example, right, you see it does 8,000 damage every 2 seconds with 1 stack. The second stack is going to make you take 4,000 more damage. And so you'll take 12,000 total nature damage every 2 seconds. The third stack is going to make you take 50% more. So that's 6,000 more damage for the third stack. And so now you're taking 18,000 damage. The fourth stack then makes you take 9,000 incremental damage. So you can see how it very quickly stacks up in damage, and how the stacks at the end matter a lot, because you end up taking a significant amount of damage as those stacks grow high. Okay, so what do we want to target? We want to target about 16 stacks on the platforms before we go back to the main platform. We consistently find ourselves around 20. And so I'll go ahead and just fast forward here. And so I'll pause at 202, right? So all the small ads are dead right now. It's just the volatile infuser ad, and we're at 15 stacks. That's actually a decent spot to be in, but this volatile infuser should be lower health, okay? And we'll kind of fast forward to the end here to when we get knocked back. And you can see everyone gets knocked back at 20 stacks, right? That's way too high. People are bleeding out and people are dying. And there's no way the healers are going to keep people alive through that. We have to kill the ads faster. Okay, so we go back and we've already got somebody dead, and all the ad platform people were just taking just tons of damage. So how do we do that better, right? So going back to when we land, this is right before we land here. We found through looking at many, many polls that we've got about 10 positions along this arc or semicircle here. And it seems that the volatile infusers just pick random spots along there, and that's where they spawn. And so it's impossible to assign specific locations on where the Thundercaller spawned to kick. But what we will do is we're going to assign relative locations. And so we'll have someone assigned to kick the far left and the second from far left. So here that's 3 and 4, as well as the far right and second from far right. And so here that's 6 and 2. I notice that 2 kind of looks like it's in the middle. That's okay. Just stick with your assigned kick and then kick it, and it'll help move everything into the middle. After you make your kick, you then focus the volatile infuser, and you cleave an AoE damage off of him. Now, something to note, next week we will have 2 DKs, 1 for each platform, so it will be significantly easier to group the ads. But we need to make sure that we understand how to do this without DKs, because we will run into that as well at some point. So in addition to the kicks, we're also going to have knockbacks. Right? So I want to show you how these knockbacks worked, and not really to pick on anyone in particular, but just to show you what's effective and what's not. And so we should be trying to knock the outer Thundercallers into the middle Thundercallers, right? Not towards the ad in the back, but towards the largest group of small ads. That's the easiest way to clump them up. And so you can see as you position when you get knocked back, if you're assigned to one of the side knocks, you should be trying to knock yourself to that side of the platform, so it's easier and faster to get that knock. So you can see the druid here comes back. They're in position to knock the ad in. Can't really tell if they did the push or not, but the ad does go in. From the other side, it's going to pull back. And so the ad on that side got knocked, but he wasn't knocked in the right direction. He was knocked towards the back of the platform. And so you see he's still out of position and not in the middle clump. And so when we knock, we need to make sure we're knocking towards where the largest grouping of ads is. That's always going to be at the front of the platform. Okay. So make sure we're knocking correctly. And then, besides that, we are then going to have assigned stuns, just like we had before. And we're going to finish off with the beam. If the ads are not dead by the end of the beam, we will then go back to the original kick assignments that we had, but that should never be the case. Okay. All right, that's enough harping on the ad platform. Let's switch over to mark management. This is the last mechanic we need to master here before we kill Dathea. And I want you guys to think of the platform as a pizza, right? And we're sitting in about a quarter slice of the pizza, right? 2 slices. And so before marks go out, generally speaking, we're all going to be spread out around the boss like this. Okay. The marks are going to pick 4 people. It's going to be 3 range and 1 melee generally. And so I'll just go ahead and put some circles around people. I'm going to use magenta just because everything's blue here. I think it's easier to see. So we'll put the 4 like that. Okay. And so as the marks go out and we're kind of all spread out like this, I want you to think of this middle circle as the mark superhighway. That's where marks go. That's where marks move. And so if you don't have a mark and you're in that middle circle, you either go into the boss or you go out of the boss and get out of the way of the mark superhighway. Okay, so these guys move out. And then if you do have a mark, you then are moving into the mark superhighway. Like so. And like so. Once you're in the mark superhighway, you can then rotate around if you're out of position without fear of spreading your mark to anyone. And then you'll all be in position to turn your mark into the ad. If you're melee, it's okay. Just step away from the boss. Don't hit him. The most important part is that we manage our mark stacks correctly and that you're in the superhighway and not spreading to other people. Then what we'll do is we'll rotate in and clear. And then once you clear, you either go into the boss or out of the boss. Then the people behind you then rotate around. They get in position. They clear, go into the boss or out of the boss. See, melee always goes in. And we repeat, not spreading marks to anyone. Okay. So that's how the superhighway looks. And then the other thing that I wanted to make sure that everyone understood is how the mechanics of marks go out, right? So like we said, every time they go out, 4 people get it. And so you need 10 stacks to spawn an ad, which means you need 3 sets to spawn an ad, and you have 2 extra, right? Because 4 times 3 is 12, and you only need 10 to spawn the ad. Now, the first ad that spawns, you only get 2 sets. And so Corvix and I will be duplicating marks twice on purpose in the first set, so that instead of just 8, we get 10, and then we'll spawn the first ad. Every set after that, we're going to get 3. So let's assume that instead of starting on square, maybe we started on triangle and we spawn triangle ad just to keep the graphic relevant without moving everyone. So triangle ad's up, right? We get marks. And so that's 4 marks on people. They all turn it into blue ad. Blue ad has 4 stacks. The second set of marks go out. They all turn it into blue ad. He now has 8 stacks. The third set goes out. And the first clears of the third set go to diamond, circle, or star. And the reason is those stacks will reset when the blue ad spawns. So the first 2 clears go to non-blue ad. The second 2 clears, or last 2 clears, go into blue ad. Those last 2 stacks take blue ad from 8 to 10 stacks. Blue ad spawns, and then whatever stacks are put into diamond, star, or circle get reset and go back to 0. And so now we can go to our diamond set, put the first 2 sets completely into diamond. The third set would have 2 of them go into star or circle. and then the last 2 into diamond. That would spawn diamond, star and circle stacks would get reset, and so on and so forth. And so that's how the marks are meant to do. It's okay if it's not 100% right, but the most critical part of this is that we don't spread the marks to other people, and we get them to the right ads. And that's it, guys. Dathea really is a very mechanic-heavy fight. We can't brute force our way through this boss, but if we learn these 3 mechanics and really take the time to master them, our prog time is going to fall so much on this boss, and we're going to progress to Breedkeeper that much faster. So anyway, that concludes the video. As always, if you guys have any comments or suggestions, please feel free to reach out and let me know.